Deep connectivity between cars and the outside world opens up new opportunities to develop and improve vehicles and mobility services. Connectivity enables users, cars, and other connected devices to work together seamlessly to serve the people's individual needs as well as the common ones. Continuous condition monitoring, predictive diagnosis, maintenance, and the option to control firmware updates remotely enable fleet operators to keep their vehicles running at peak performance. Today, we enter the first module of the iTram solution from BGSW, and we have Pradeep taking us through the basics of iTrams.
Hi, good morning. My name is Pradeep. I am from BGSW iTrams team. I am in this team since last 4.5 years, since the inception of iTrams. So what we have done is we have broken down into two portions. One is a basic version where I take you through what is this connected mobility with respect to the iTrams what we have. And the second portion is we go in detail with respect to more on hardware, software related aspects, the related use cases, overburden on the content. So with this is the content what I have planned for today. Just to start with, where do we stand on the connected market with respect to connected car, followed by with respect to iTrams. Now I funnel it down from the bigger picture, where are we from the iTrams point of view and what current portfolio we have which are being offered to the end customers. With that, we will come to the ecosystem what we have to have a connected mobility. What is the ecosystem under which we work? What are the different entities, different partners with whom we will be working, and then how the end cases will be realized. With which I'll go a little deeper into the hardware portion. Again, on the basic level, what is the hardware architecture with respect to iTrams what we have, followed by a software architecture, so that you can also understand what are the different elements which come from the software point of view. Post that, I will also touch upon a little bit on the security portion, because since you are exposing this to outside world, there's also a security concern. I will also touch base on the end-to-end security what we have, followed by the use cases what we currently have. So that I will also take you to the vehicle. You can also visualize from the real usage point of view, what are these features, how can this be helping the end customer and indirectly boosting the sales of the OEMs. Few challenges what we have and the opportunities going forward, and finally on the vehicle aspect. On the connected mobility, so far in most of the countries, especially in the developed countries, they already have this connected mobility. I would say since 2003, 2013, 2014, that's where you had a boom on the connected solution. But whereas from India point of view, it is somewhere started in 2018, 2019, with Hyundai coming up with the connected solution, Hector taking it to a different level with respect to their user experience. That's where the momentum in India started, I would say 2018, 2019. By then we were also into the game for the customers like Cummins in US, followed by Tata Motors in India, who is the first customer for connected solution, followed by Mahindra. So that's how the connected market is also going. As per the statistics, they say currently we have close to around 20 to 30% of penetration in the current market, which is expected to go up to 95% with your advanced navigation, advanced driver assistance coming in. Probably by 2030, the statistics says you might have around 95% of penetration in the automotive sector. It can be broadly classified whether you're purely using it for infotainment purpose or telematics purpose, or it can also be V2X, which will come as part of 5G later on, probably 25-26 time frame point of view. So based on that, you will categorize. If I purely focus on the telematics content, it can be purely OBD based solution. Maybe I will also take a few devices just to. You can have different integration module. One can be a very basic one where you just connect your OBD. You will have track and trace as a basic application, and on top of that you can also have few applications based on the OBD limited signals what you have. Next one will be a standalone telematic control unit similar to this, where it is connected to your vehicle bus, and you can also have all the connector related features. The last one is integrated into your infotainment system. So you will already integrate this telematics inside your head unit so that you get one package. But that will also come with certain pros and cons. Probably we will discuss little later during our discussion. So today what I focus is a standalone telematic device which we are offering from Bosch, and then later on we will also touch base on the OBD based USB based solution. So these are the major players what we have currently. Bosch is also one among them, top 5 from the connected mobility point of view. We have Continental, Harman, we have Visteon from US, and also Denso from Japan. So we are competing with big guys in the field, hoping that we will have a bigger share going forward. So with that, I will just funnel it down from the bigger market to iTrans. Where do we stand? What is that we are trying to do, and where are we now? So currently we are present across the globe. Starting from east, we have customers like Kubota. They are mainly using it for their off-highway application. We have SOMC from Korea for their SUVs, and India we have Tata Motors. We were also with Mahindra some time back, but they wanted to go ahead with an integrated solution. That's where they went outside Bosch. We have a couple of customers in Europe, E.Go and Piaggio. They are also mainly on off-highway application. Then we have the customer coming from US, is for Cummins. So they supply engine across the globe, and we also supply to them. In that we have two different versions. One is on engine mount and the vehicle mount. This is the one which goes as an engine mount. This is world's first engine mount telematics device, which Bosch has done. No one else has done it because of harsh environment when you put it on the engine. Because since Cummins supply most of the product is engine based, if they want to have it, then they have to mount it on the engine. So this is the first engine mount telematics device which we also supply to them. So far we have started production in 2020 as a pilot customer, starting with Tata. We have close to around 400,000 devices shipped last, I would say, three and a half years. We are also having a few more customers who are coming for new acquisition. I'll also come to that in my coming slides. We also have end-to-end solution, like we not only supply the device, we also do the cloud services with respect to all subscriptions, your application, third-party application integration. Like for example, if you take Tata, we provide the hardware. If you consider Mahindra, we have device plus the solution on the connected mobility. This product is completely manufactured, designed, manufactured, developed out of India. Only few products in Bosch where India is responsible even for development and also manufacturing. So this is one of the product in a big scale where completely made out of India with very little intervention from our counterpart in Germany. And this is supplied across globe, only out of India now at this point of time.
There you have mentioned three different segments. You have mentioned different devices. Is this common for all?
This currently goes on engine.
It can be put on common for all the three segments, right?
You need not have to have this bulky or rugged one if you want to mount it on the engine. If you want to purely go for a passenger one, this is the one where we have one what you see in front of you. So that is with IP52, which can be cabin mounted. This is IP67, where if you want to have both from IP point of view protection. And the one which is next to you, this is Gen 1. It is pure 2G based solution with very limited application, but it can also be mounted on the vehicle. chassis mounted. So we have products based on their mounting location and also different application. It can be used for commercial vehicle. It can also be used for your personal usage, if at all if you have a mounting related topics. CM was developing some time back an integrated one. Now they have also stopped.
How is this split up in the market? Which is predominant, standalone or integrated?
They started with the integrated one, but due to the complexity of varying technology with respect to your mobile network, it is very difficult to keep integrated one, because the technology of your mobile technologies keep changing rapidly. And if you make a product, especially in automotive application, you make a product, at least they look for a lifetime of 10 years. But if you take a mobile network, we had 3G for what, 3.5 years, 4G for 4 years. Now we are already talking about 5G. And in fact, Tata, when we were discussing, they said we are in discussion with government on 6G. When you make an integrated one, it is very difficult to keep changing that module quite often. So the more advantageous you make this, so that you can change at any given point of time. That is one. The second advantage is currently it is fitted on all iTrim vehicles, it is high-end vehicles. Still the penetration on the low end is pretty low because of cost. But when you integrate that, then you need to make an ED unit specifically for each segment, or else you are going to shoot out your cost point of view. If you have an integrated, if you have a standalone one, this one device can suffice from top end to the low end. The only thing is they need to work out on a different model, how do they optimize the cost. So currently we have in iTrams only a standalone telematics device. So we have also started now the 5G development. We also have a couple of queries from customer to go ahead and make a 5G based solution. This will come somewhere 2020, later part of 2024 or 2025. So these are the few milestones we had. We had the acquisitions beginning of 19. We had the first PPAP in 2020 beginning, just before COVID started. We made almost 100,000 by almost 2021 end, and for Tata alone we supplied 1 lakh in last year, middle of last year, and last month we also clocked, actually this is February, we have clocked 400,000 plus, and this year we are planning to have 350,000 devices produced for this year alone. With few acquisition going on, probably in 2025 we should touching almost 600,000.
Tata is your direct customer or Cummins? Because I think we started with Cummins, right?
The first acquisition was Cummins, followed by Tata.
So volume-wise, Tata is a big one.
Volume-wise, Tata is a big. I mean, in fact, for Tata, the first acquisition was for 5,000 units per annum, because they were only looking for Nexon EV segment. After the success of Nexon, now they are talking about they want to have a penetration close to around 30%, which we anticipate close to around 200,000 plus this year. So it's a big jump. Start just from 5,000 per annum to 20,000 per annum in just 3 years. Is a big.
And that's a 2G, right?
No, no. Whatever we have now, the 2G version is already reached end of production. This started in 2018, Mahindra being the pilot customer, followed by CNHI. So this production is, is already reached end of production last year. Whatever we have is only a 4G. The one what is there in front of you is a 4G.
What happens to the items which are already sold to the customer, the 2G version?
That will still continue.
That will continue.
Yes.
So that will not have any, no replacement is required at all with the 4G.
It's not. If you want to change then complete vehicle architecture, you need to change. So currently whatever 2G you have, that will still continue.
So what life do you mention 10 years? Application or how is it?
We talk about 5 years because the modem is the one which plays a bigger role, and it is dominated by Qualcomm. And if he says I am going to stop today, you have no other supplier who can give the parts. So we talk about 5 years, and even aftermarket supplies also we talk about maximum 3 years. What we're trying to do is the next version, whatever we try to develop, is compatible with the previous version, so that you have just plug and play.
Otherwise, the 5 years is something.
It's too short because it's purely driven by the technology. Unlike all our traditional product, is purely dominated by this modem supplier. All other child parts you can get it, but modem keeps changing, and from the quantity point of view for automobile it is very niche. For example, if you take your mobiles, you'll be producing in millions, but whereas the quantity which is produced for automobile will be very small portion of that. And if he decides, no, I want to go from one version to the other version, you cannot influence with a smaller volume what we have from automobile application. So that's the reason the life is little limited and the technology is changing quite fast.
So that the end customer can easily upgrade himself.
Instead of retrofit, I would say compatible with the next version, backward compatible, so that if you are already in 4G and if you want to go to 5G, it should be compatible with the previous version, so that you just plug and play. So this was the roadmap I was mentioning. So 2020 we started with almost 4 customers going into production the same year. This is on the Gen 2 mid segment, what we call, one what we have, that is IP52 cabin mount, 4G version, then followed by this one Cummins wala. This is a rugged one, we call it as high-end because it comes with a processor based hardware. We are also now starting the platform development for 5G with a target of 2025 as an SOP. I'll come to those use cases later on. I have also just mentioned what are the use cases which are already available, and the one which will come as a part of 5G development. Just a glimpse before we get into the details of hardware. We have a standard one, this is IP52. We have 4G modem coming from NAT, LGIT, and this is the one advanced version where it goes on engine for US market. There are also a couple of customers who have already gone into SOP. We are also in development with respect to rugged one, just because if you want to take this from cabin mount to probably engine mount, we have one of the customer who is asking for IP66K. So we are developing one more. This will be ready by middle of this year. I'm not sure whether the details will help you. This comes with your, maybe I can take that. So it has a 36-pin connector which connects to your vehicle, also via CAN. You have Ethernet here. This is the USB cable, and then these are the external, we call it as FACRA connector. This is for your LTE. In case your reception is not good, you can still use this external connectors for antenna. These are the 2 antennas what is currently provided. These are internal antenna. Most of the suppliers, they have an external antenna. The USP with Bosch is we already have an internal antenna, so that the additional cost for external antenna can be avoided. Antenna cost itself is almost $30-40. With respect to Bosch, since we already have this internal antenna, the customers can eliminate. So that is one of the USP, and we also have a patented antenna from Bosch. We have 2 patents for internal antenna. I'm not sure whether it is still visible. Before I go to this hardware module, this is the one, we use it for the GPS, so that you get the GPS signal, and this is for Wi-Fi. It also comes with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. If at all, if you want to connect your infotainment via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, it is also supported with Wi-Fi. In India, there is a regulation of AS 140, which was actually triggered after this Nirbhaya case, where any vehicle which is carrying a passenger, and if they are in need or if they are in danger, they have to reach out to the nearest police station or somebody, with which they have also started AS 140. This is currently used in commercial vehicles now, but not mandated for PASCAR. Probably going forward, it might also come. In fact, there was also few discussion from Ministry of Road, where they want to have all this toll collection made over the air. Mean to say, you need not have to go and pay or FASTag. They use the connect GPS location and try to calculate how much have you traveled, and based on that, your toll collection will also be done. So we have, apart from our regular GPS, we also have IRNSS. This is purely for India. We call it as Indian Regional Navigation System, which was developed. History was also going back to Kargil. When we had this Kargil war, US did not allow us to use the GPS coordinates. So that's why Government of India has also decided that we will have our own navigation system. So they have developed IRNSS. Now all your mobile phone, if you see, it says it is compatible with IRNSS. So this device is also compatible with IRNSS, which can also be used. There is a supplier coming from that. It has your SD card, or I would say eMMC, if you want to expand your memory. Just like your mobile phone, it also gets from the memory point, which can also be scalable. It has a eSIM. Unlike earlier phone, we used to have a physical eSIM, physical SIM. It comes with an embedded eSIM, so that you need not have to change and tamper. There's also option to put a physical SIM, but nowadays, just to avoid the security point of view, there's a request to have embedded SIM. So it also comes with an embedded SIM.
For eSIM, the service providers are how that works? This basic question. Like mobile, we depend on Airtel or Vodafone, like the service providers. So how this works?
Two different business models they have. As a MNO, mobile network operator, they can have their own hardware and the service. Like for example, Airtel. Airtel says if you have your mobile phone, it comes with a integrated SIM or embedded SIM, and I can give the service to you. Mean to say, the hardware is already available. I do the configuration over there so that you latch on to Airtel.
Okay.
There are also different business model, like for example what we use for Tata. For Tata, we get the eSIMs from TCL, Tata Communications, and they have a partner tie-up with Airtel and BSNL from the profile point of view. So he will be a hardware supplier, but he will have all intern contract with the different MNOs, network providers. The other one is you have a built-in hardware and you take the service from the required MNOs. Say especially in telematics, whenever we are supplying to OEM, the control will be, most of the case will be with OEMs, because they are the one who will choose what is the data plan I would like to have, what is the validity I would like to have. As a telematics supplier, you will have very least influence on that, because end of the day you are selling the vehicle and you know what your customer needs are. And if I, for example, I am supplying the eSIM, I says my limit is only 1 GB, but your requirement is 2 GB. It cannot be made different to different customers. So usually OEM will choose the MNO with whom he wants to work. So in case of Tata, I said it is Tata Communication. In case of Cummins, they have gone ahead with AT&T. The one which were with Gen 1, we were with Vodafone, where we have chosen the MNO. But most of the case, it will be done by the OEMs, so that they have that flexibility on the data which they want to have and the control. Because eventually the KYC also has to be done by them. They will own that KYC. So
validity contract has been done by OEM directly with
yes,
the service provider,
yes,
not by the end user.
not by the end user. It might be a case like, it can be a directed buy. OEM will say, he is my chosen supplier, he will sell it to you and I make all the remaining contracts. It will be kind of tri-party contract, because since it will come and sit in our device. IP52 is the one what we have. We are also planning to develop IP66K, that will come somewhere 2023 middle. It has a battery, built-in battery, which is also one of the USP where the other telematic supplier does not have. There are a couple of use cases, probably I will come to that when we discuss on the use cases. It has a built-in gyro and accelerometer, also supported with some use cases, and then tamper detection, just to avoid if somebody is trying to take out your device, then you get that alert whenever is trying to take out. So similar to this, but this is little bit on the higher processing power with respect to higher memory, or more or less the same. Okay, there are different business model what we are also currently using, from end to end to only a business device business. So in this case, one of the example I said, we choose the MNO or the SIM partner with we want to work. We give the device, we give the application software and connected solution software. We also develop the mobile application, and then we also own the cloud. So that OEM comes, you just have to take this device and fit it on the vehicle. Rest of the thing we do it. That is end to end. We have only device, application and cloud, where you chooses with which MNO he wants to make the business. The third business model is we give the application and the device, where we write the application and he will choose which cloud he wants to host all the services. And the last one is only a device, where we give the device and he develops his own application, and he can also have his own cloud, mobile app, so on and so forth. So there are different models which we operate. Predominantly we are here and here. There are only few customers who wants to take the complete solution, who are new to the market, and there are also few who wants to have their own application written to avoid any IP related topics. Before we go a little deeper into the hardware and software, I just wanted to give what are the complexities, or I would say ecosystem of a connected car. There are so many players, unlike other products where we directly deal with the customer and the interaction is only between the supplier and the customer. Here there are so many other entities who will come into picture. Maybe starting with I would say TCO, which is our device. It is connected to your car. There are so many means of communication. It can be over CAN, it can be over USB, Ethernet, or it can also be over Wi-Fi and BT. Based on their application, they can also choose which one they would like to use. This fellow has to speak to two different fellows. One, he gets the signal from GPS for all your location-based services, and he speaks to this fellow, your MNO. That's the first leg of communication. And then give this fellow, it can be, as I said earlier, it can be Vodafone or Airtel, or a guy who supplies, make the contract with both, so that you have Airtel, Vodafone, BSNL switching back in the backend. Or you can only have, for example, Vodafone, he only wants to talk to Vodafone, does not want to connect to somebody. So that is available, so the customer can choose which MNO he can work. So the communication from year to year, then he gets the signal from GPS, and then the communication to mobile network. In turn, they are connected to different clouds. It can be just one cloud. There are so many other players in the market, predominantly dominated by Azure and AWS. You can have just cloud to cloud, mean to say you host everything in one cloud, or it can be cloud to cloud. It can also be third party cloud. So here in this case, for example, in one of the customer, he is only talking to AWS. The other one, there is a Azure cloud, and he is in turn connected to a different cloud. It is managed by probably a third party service provider. This fellow will also speak to your mobile phone, because there are a couple of use cases which you can trigger. For example, remote commands. You can switch on, switch off your vehicle engine using your mobile app. It purely operates on SMS and then gives that command back to the device. So there are different protocol for communication. We used MQTT. If the data is small, we use MQTT, or if it is big, if you want to stream your media and all those things, we use HTTP. Currently we have 2G, 3G and 4G. This can also go up to 5G, maybe another couple of years, where your CV2X will come into picture. So this is the complete ecosystem under which it works. Any of the one which stops working, your connectivity will stop. If there is a delay from this to this, is out. If you are not getting your GPS signal, your location based services are gone. If you are in an area where you don't have a network, you are out. So that's where, especially in connectivity, the biggest challenge what we have is the network coverage and interoperability. Because you are operating with one fellow, for example Airtel, and if Airtel's signal is low, that fellow has to switch to BSNL, and that latency also plays a bigger role. So it's
Pradeep, this right side, this is directly connected to the satellite. Even, which means that even in a remote area where the connectivity is not there also, the device is detectable.
That fellow will only get the coordinates. If you want to track where is my vehicle, then you have to send the device, the information back to your server. If the MNO is not there, you only take the coordinates, but that coordinates will be sitting in your device, but you cannot send it because you don't have a network.
Is there any SOS or something which is built in, which for these areas where you are completely cut off, and you are brought it to general, so that time can SOS be sent through the satellite?
So far, no.
But could be in use case.
Could be a use case. There are features they are having on e-call and b-call, emergency call and breakdown call, which is not mandate in India, but outside India there are few countries who have made it mandate.
So that uses direct satellite?
Not really now, but they try to use whatever available bands they have for communication. That will come. Probably with the coverage increasing day by day, this should go away, but until then we will have some challenge. Even for example, if you drive from here to Mysore, in between Ramnagar you don't get any signal. That will take some time before it is fully solved. And if you go to rural area, you have only 2G, you don't get 4G. And if you want to stream anything in rural area, gone. Highways are mostly on 2G. We'll have that challenge, but that challenge, anyway, government has taken an initiative that they will change all the 2Gs to 4G now. So with that, there should be some improvement on that.
Which is the MNO?
Out of 8 or 9 customers, we have except one. All remaining ones are chosen by the supplier, chosen by the customers. In the way that you already, not taking that, I would not say this, monkey on your shoulder, because there are a lot of issues with your MNOs. And if you get engaged to that, every day you will be solving their problem. So it's better to give them that freedom they choose, which they are comfortable, because they might not stick to one supplier. Tomorrow if they say he is not meeting my expectation, he can choose to go ahead with someone else. Like for example, Tata said, I don't want to go to anybody. I have my own leg. I will go ahead with TCL and he will do the contracting with the different ones. And if I am not happy with Airtel, I want to go ahead with Vodafone tomorrow. So that freedom you will have. Or else you will be sitting and doing all this back-end activities, which is not a value-added service for you.
Only in case of end-to-end, we need to take care about that part.
Only in end-to-end case where you are responsible for, in this one, where you are responsible for even choosing that. But here it will be very niche. Usually it is done for a guy who does all this fleet related activity. He is not tech savvy, does not want to get into that. His use cases will be only on fleets. In that case, you say you do it. But whenever you come across this passenger car, that's where they say, I would like to have. Just to answer, I'll come to that later. We do this in two different layers. You can do edge analytics, meaning to say do everything on the device, and your application layer can also sit in your device. Or if you say my data is too heavy or I need more computation power, in that case you push it back to the cloud. Say for example, you want to do a driver driver drowsiness, mean to say your camera has to capture your video and then try to analyze whether you are drowsing. So that is usually done in the cloud because you need that space and then you need that computation power. In that case, it will go and sit there. For example, if you just want to do your harsh acceleration and braking, you just get the signal from accelerometer gyro. That can be done in your device itself. In that case, application will come and sit in your device. So that's there in my software architecture. I'll come to that.
How much it can store, come from 0 kilometer to until end of the life, the data will be stored, or it is intermittently only and then erased?
It depends on the customer. Usually, if I take the new regulation AS 038, which is a mandate for EV vehicles, it says until 30 days of data you need to store, and after that it can be erased. That has come from battery management point of view, just to monitor your battery. They say you store for 30 days, after 30 days it can be erased. Because keeping that data also you don't know what to do. I had one of the customer who came back to me and he said, I have collected 200 terabytes of data and I don't know what to do. So, and he has wasted the 200 terabyte of data charge. And these are M2M SIMs, machine to machine. If you are paying 1 GB, how much we pay? If we pay 1.5 GB per month on 350 rupees. But these are almost 4-5 times expensive, M2M data charges. 1 GB itself can go up to around 100-120 rupees. So you need to judiciously take a call what is the data you want to store, and everything cannot be stored here because you need to make use of that data somewhere, and then you will have to send it back to this person. This person will also charge you if you are storing that data. It's purely whatever input I get, whatever I am storing, whatever processing I am doing. So you will also charge. So usually OEMs will choose what data they need for a very small, shorter duration. After that it will be erased. If you have 8 GB capacity, you can store it, but you need to decide what are you going to do with that.
Or is it a kind of auto locks to the storage data? How is it erasing of the data? How that happens?
No, you make your application in such a way that after 30 days you get it erased. Most of the cases we don't store the device. The data in the device. We do it when there is no network. Suppose you are driving in an area where you don't have a network and you cannot send it back. At that duration it will store, and as soon as your network is back, it will push it back to the cloud. You don't usually store, just apart from this AS 38, where even without a network you have to store that content. Only for that point of view it will store. Any more question on this before little deeper into the hardware and software architecture?
Whatever you showed is the communication between vehicle to the cloud, and it has to talk, vehicle has to talk from vehicle to vehicle.
That is V2X. That is V2X. That is vehicle to vehicle. So that will another, at least for India, another 8 years.
The scope currently is not there.
Your infrastructure needs to be there. If one vehicle has to speak to the other vehicle also should be capable of understanding the language. Currently it is not.
there are 2-3 machines operating and we have to connect all those things. In that case, you can still use it. Yes.
Industry use actually compared to Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi also has certain from the distance point of view, whereas your LTE has a longer connectivity, especially where in case of, for example, Amazon, you have Amazon warehouse, you might be seeing so many robots crossing across for delivering those consignments. In that case, it will be useful, because if you are having Wi-Fi moving from one location to other location, you will have issue of disconnect and connect. Whereas in case of LTE, you have a larger area of coverage. You can have that there.
If it is a particular OEM, Tata, and his fleet basically, even that vehicle is not.
One is infrastructure, then the current one what I have, the only two wireless communication I have is Wi-Fi and BT. And Wi-Fi and BT duration, I mean your range is too small. And when you are speaking to each other, your security will also come into picture, and at what frequency you talk to them, what are the security concerns. There is dedicated short range communication. There is one technology which is being used outside India that will talk to each other. It's a dedicated communication between the vehicle and vehicle. So in V2X there are two: cellular connectivity, where you don't just speak to each other with your dedicated line, but you use your cellular network. The one what you said is purely vehicle to vehicle without having any other infrastructure.
With MNO we can do that?
MNO you can do, that is what we call it as CV2X, cellular V2X, V2V. That you need to have an infrastructure. So far no. There are only few countries are doing all the POCs, but still not operational. In India, maybe another 8-10 years. Okay, the same one, what I was trying to explain. We have a processor and we have a controller. I don't know to what extent we remember our engineering when we had something on processor and controller. Just for a layman's language, since we have a mixed crowd, I would say we have a controller. I just want to give an example as a remote command or remote controller. This one, the function of this is a dedicated function for this to have. Like for example, if I say go to next slide, it just go to next slide. It doesn't say which slide I have to go, why should I go to this slide. So that is done by your controller, and usually this is connected to your vehicle side, because on the vehicle side you only take the signals. You don't do any kind of processing related activities. You take signals from CAN, and if at all, if you are connecting to your Ethernet. And this is connected to your controller, and you have your microprocessor. That's where all your processing is done. And this is also connected to the outside world. I mean to say, it goes outside to MNO, and this side is your vehicle side. Maybe if I show this here, this is the one which connects to your vehicle side. This is the one which connects outside. These three. We will also have Ethernet and USB. You have accelerogyro, which I already mentioned. You can also connect different sensors. If you want to have analog sensor, digital sensors, you can connect if you want to give inputs. It also has your mic and speaker for the application what I said, e-call and b-call. If you want to use for emergency call or a breakdown call, it can also trigger calls to that. Then these are two antennas for your GRNSS or GPS, and then for LTE. Your Wi-Fi, BT, then you have eMMC for your memory. This is the one which connects for the other interface. You have USB 3.0. This is the one we have 2.0. It can also go up to 3.0. You have Ethernet and RS-232 for their vehicle diagnostics related activities. This is the one which is connected to your vehicle side. This is the one which is connected to outside. That's the reason you see these two antennas. This fellow is speak to outside, and these two are connected. We call it as IPC, inter-processor communicator. So there will be a dedicated line will speak to these two guys. Also from security point of view, because if you put everything in one side, if there is a security threat, this fellow is also compromised. And this is more important because it is connected to your vehicle. Connected to a vehicle via CAN. So, and these are the one if you want to have connected to your LEDs, taking some signals. For example, if you want to have your TPMS connected, tire pressure monitoring and all those things, you can still try to use it.
Is it again it's one standard architecture,
We customize more on the application layer,
not on the hardware?
not on the hardware, because we make a superset hardware. Say for example, few customers says I don't want this. I don't want to change my complete architecture. I make a superset design. If you see this one, for Tata, I am not giving this, I am not giving this, I am not giving this, I am not giving this. But my design is protected. Whatever use case I have, my hardware is already protected. Based on the customer need, I just populate. So that the complete development of this hardware can be shortened and development cost can be reduced.
So which means there will be an adaptation of the hardware also.
No, population.
Population.
It's a population variant. In this case, it was a completely new requirement. He said, I want to mount this on the engine. This fellow is not capable. And if you are mounting on the engine, there are two aspects. One, vibration. It has to withstand that vibration. And since you are mounting it on the engine, you have so much of metal around. And your RF radio frequency will be impacted due to that. We have to make a new design of antenna. This is the one which is patented and what I said. So that's the reason we segregated into three. If you want to have passenger car, take this because it's cabin mounted, well within the limit. If you want to go for commercial vehicle, rugged usage, use this. Currently these two will suffice 90% of the market requirement, at least in automotive segment. Commercial vehicle is still using this, mounted inside the cabin. But if you want to mount it on the engine with higher processing power, this is the one.
So you mean to say only the processing power is the different, or?
No, it is change of processing power, your IP rating, your environmental condition, your durability. I have seen enough to you can visualize. Wants to see.
This transparent is for classroom.
Yes. Where your processor and modem sit inside, the one what I am showing you, the right hand side or left hand side. This fellow sits outside, your modem sits outside, and your processor is separate. Tomorrow if you want to scale or if you want to have a higher processing power which is not met by the existing one, I can make the changes here. But the one what you have with him, Ashwin, you hold it. That cannot be, scalability point of view will be an issue. Tomorrow if you want to go to 5G, 5GB, then you cannot have. 5GB you cannot enhance because that's a decentralized architecture, this is centralized architecture. Everything is packed and you cannot change any single parameters there. Scalability point of view, that is highly scalable. This is very limited some years ago. But Gen 1 was made outside Bosch, but Gen 2, Gen 2A, Gen 2I, all these are done in-house. Nothing done outside. Harman they have, but currently they have an integrated solution with their Edunit. They are pitching for a standalone, but they don't have any customers in India.
Standalone with the
They have their own standalone. There is one guy called Accolade, especially from Tata point of view. who is doing. Others are Suzuki is using dongle based. They want to now go ahead with a CAN based, and others one are integrated ones. Like Hyundai is integrated, your Mahindra is integrated. They have some challenges. They are also trying to now look for a standalone telematics.
Considering the legislations that might come
Mhm.
in India, are there any plans for new
I put it this way, if I purely look at from passenger vehicle point of view, the only one which is coming now is AS038, that is required for EV starting from this year, I don't know, somewhere March or April. Apart from that, for commercial vehicle, there's a regulation called AS140 which went live somewhere 2018 but not really effective. This device is already AS140 compliant, so it is already certified. That's the reason I showed you one L89 chipset. That is the one which goes for a commercial vehicle wherever you need AS140. It might not be a commercial vehicle, for example Ola fleet. If he wants to have, then you need to have AS140, and he can also fit this. From compliance point of view, whatever we have as of now, yes, we have. And if at all, if something comes as a part of 5G V2X, that needs to be looked at later point of time. But so far, whatever compliance we know, the device is already fulfilling those requirements. Anything on hardware architecture, so that the duration of getting the vehicle, individually connecting it, changing it, updating. I had one use case, at least a benefit. We went into SOP in 2020, January or February, because that was the first time we got into SOP. 1 month later, we had a lot of quality issues, but we were in lockdown. And to say, you cannot go and take the vehicles, you cannot update, you cannot physically touch. This actually saved our life, or else we had to send everybody across the India and go and update. So just after lockdown was eased out, they could able to update, and it was up and running. So you can reduce your operational cost, increase your efficiency with respect to speed at which you operate. You take care of all the concerns. I'm not sure how many of you have experienced with your cars with respect to connected community. So to start with, you have, since it is connected to your network and connected on 2G, you can have your own entertainment on the go, which you can also do it with your mobile internet. But since it is already connected to your ED unit, you need not have to have a dedicated again pair and start consuming your own data. It can help you with additional maps if your Google is not sufficing. If you want to go ahead with Map My India or any other service provider, which can help you with navigation, it can already built in your vehicle. You can have your driver behavior analysis, whether how good the driver is driving. There's also now customers are trying to give this driver ratings. It will also display on your screen whether you're 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, which is also taken as an input for your insurance company. So they will also try to see how good you are, and based on that your rating will also decide it. If you are accelerating too harsh, braking too harsh, you already get this notification back to them. Especially this is used in case of school bus, where somebody has to ensure that their kids are safe, something is going on, they can track it. You can track your vehicle, you have parked your vehicle, gone out, somebody has taken your vehicle out. So you can, sitting in your office, you can at least see where is your vehicle. Driver assistance, find my car, stolen vehicle tracking, remote engine start stop, sitting in your car, you can just you say it's summer now, before I go and sit in my car, it is too hot, I can switch on my AC sitting here, and as soon as I go, it is already in a required temperature. Fleet management, the application what we spoke for Tata, then remote parking, payment, all those things are getting linked to telematics now, so that you just get into car and car does the everything. We have come to end of session 1, where we have gone through iTram's basic session. We have a follow-up session where we go in detail about different hardware architecture and software architecture. We also given a Mentimeter. Please give your valuable feedback. So this will help us to improvise on the training content.